I have 6 unlimited booster boxes for Flesh and Blood, 2 each from the available sets that you can get unlimited for. Can I break even? I'm Chris Steele, and this is Tabletop Game Talk, a show where we talk about all types of tabletop games and tabletop gaming topics. About a month ago, I did an episode on Flesh and Blood, and I got a few comments. There was only 200 and some odd views, so a few comments was actually pretty good, but they were passionate comments. I'm going to address those comments today, but I'm going to do that while opening a bunch of Flesh and Blood. So let's take a look at what I have here. Let's see, we'll go here. This is, what one is this? Monarch, I believe. Yep, we have 2 of these. And then I have 2 of the Arcane Rising. These are all unlimited, you can tell, because they say unlimited on them. And 2 Welcome to Wrath. I think it's R-A-T-H-E. I'm going to say Wraith. It sounds like Wraith. Might be Wrath. So I'm going to open up these. I also want to show part of the comments, and I'll get into the specifics of the comments in a bit. Part of the comments were, I don't have enough knowledge to talk about if this game is a good investment or not. I don't need specific knowledge about the game to know whether or not a game is going to be a good investment, and we'll talk about that further. But I do want to point out, this is a Monarch first edition booster box. This was about $450 a month ago when I picked it up, but I picked it up for a decent amount less than that. I figured, okay, we'll see. We'll see if this has some investment or investment potential. But I also have a Flesh and Blood Crucibles of War first edition. Now, let's see if I can get this focused. There we go. Well, anyway. First edition booster box of Crucibles of War. So I have some skin in the game, and I have done a decent amount of research on this. That box, neither of these boxes I bought at the crazy prices that you could have got them at a while ago. So, but these ones I bought for much cheaper. The Monarch ones I got for $75 a box, and then the others, after shipping and tax, about $100 a box. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start opening these, and there's some chase cards in all of these boxes. Even the unlimited cards are worth a decent amount, and if I find those chase cards, great, I can sell them, I can make my money back. So I'm basically looking for, 2 or 3 big, legendary would be great, but even a few majestics. Now, there's only about a half a dozen in any given set that are worth enough to be worthwhile to sell back, but that's fine. I like the game. I'm getting the game because I want to play the game. This is an investment to play the game. I also like Keyforge. Keyforge is a completely non-investable trading card game. There is some aftermarket, but for the most part, what you spend is you're spending to play the game. You're not spending to invest in it. Flesh and Blood, in my opinion only, and I'll talk about that as I'm opening these up, is not an investable game. It's not a game that's going to hold its value. It's not a game that anyone should invest in because you're speculating. It is simply a game that is fun to play, and if you want to play it, buy cards, open them up, play it. If you want to play individual decks, or you have a particular deck you want to make because you're making them online, that's fine too. Buy cards online to build your decks. Don't buy boosters like this hoping that you're going to open it up and get returns. Don't try to really get anything. The value is just not going to grow like it does for a handful of other card games. All right, so I believe there's 24 boosters in a pack. Yep, 24. So I'm just tossing those over here. Let's get to the couple comments that actually I just needed to respond to. One of them, let's see. Well, one of them was my last title was clickbait. The last title was specifically is Flesh and Blood the Magic the Gathering killer? And I said, no, it is not. It is not going to kill Magic the Gathering in any way, shape, or form. I guess this is the initial sets have different rarities. So I guess this is an S. This is a super rare. And then this is a rare, and these are just in the middle of the pack. So was it clickbaity? Sure, everything we do is clickbaity in some way. This is the internet, right? This is YouTube. But I think I made some pretty valid points in those clickbaity titles as to why I think this is not the greatest investment. Now, that said, that video sucked. It was really bad. I was more concerned about lighting and camera quality and those types of things than it wasn't a coherent video. It's a bad one. You don't need to go back and watch that one. Sigil of Solace. Cost for 3, gain 1 life. Huh. That's interesting. This is a good card. It's a rare card. And it seems to me in all way better than the Fabled card for play type, but we'll talk about that in a few minutes. So I'm going to set anything that is higher than rare is going to get set up here. I can say that this value of this card, so this is Showtime. I did write some of this down to, just to have a few top lists. You're not seeing it on your screen because there's very few that are on here. But nothing that's outside of legendary rarity is going to be worth much. So I'm setting it up here because it's good to see. But anyway, was it clickbaity? I don't know, maybe. I mean, I had in the thumbnail saying, no, it wasn't. I was answering it. So if you read the thumbnail, you'd know what my stance was on it. I don't think this is better than Magic the Gathering. I think this is it's okay. All right, fine. It looks like there's a super rare in the first 2 packs. So we're just going to set them there. And the last one's a token. And those get set over here. So sure. Another comment. Hate to say it, but when it comes to availability and pricing, you are just wrong on almost every front. Yes and no. So yes, I did focus on how expensive these cards are in the basically for the first edition cards. I focused on that. I did mention that the first edition or the unlimited boosters, the one I'm opening now, were available. It was a side thought. I did not focus on it. But yeah, these $100 for a booster box, that's not bad. You're going to get a decent amount of cards, and that's fine. I should emphasize that more. Since that video came out, I also, the Monarch Unlimited released. So now the first 3 sets are all available. They're easy to get. And so sometimes these are foils, and some of these foils are kind of hard to see, but actually this is the difference between let me show you here. This is a non-foil with, you can see there's nothing there. And this is the exact same card, which is just coincident. You can see a little bit of a shiny there. I actually have a hard time telling the difference between the foils and non-foils sometimes. They come in specific slots in the packs, but that's still, I would have to count, and I'm not worried about counting right now. So, that's there. Okay. We're not going to see any cold foils in this, obviously, because this is unlimited, and that's fine. We don't need to see cold foils. So, yes, I was wrong I emphasized the wrong things about pricing. I said that this game was too expensive to get into, and if we were looking solely at those first edition prices, that's really what I was referring to. When you're talking about the aftermarket, like the current markets, it's not that bad. And honestly, it's pretty cheap to get into when you think about the Blitz decks and stuff that you can just pick up, no problem. The real emphasis I wanted to make in that video, though, and the one that I think is actually proven out more than anything in the last month especially, is first edition cards are not going to hold their value at all. There's just absolutely no hope in them holding their value. And to the same extent that this camera's not going to focus the way I want it to. But it's just not, there's just no feasible way that you can have a player want to spend we'll use the fabled version from this set. So the last alpha version of the Heart of Fendal sold that I see on eBay like $14,000 or something ridiculous, and that was just like 3 months ago. Since then, the Unlimiteds come out. There hasn't been a single alpha card sold that I could find anywhere for this in this set. There's lots of Unlimited sold, and the price of that card is now about anywhere between $400 and $500, which is significant. That's a great price for a card, but that card is also the rarest card in the set. It's, crazy hard to find. That value is just going to keep going down. As long as Unlimited is continuing to put more cards in play, it's going to go down. Now, the rebuttal to that is, but the collectors are going to, want this. It's a piece of the history of the game, and yeah, maybe. I don't buy it, though, because collectors are going to collect things that have value. And value is given to something based on how many people want it. And if players they're not willing to pay that much for a card, then you are just going to be looking at like the pure collectors, right? I'm collecting history and I want, everything there is about this game. There's not a lot of them. I don't think there ever will be a lot of people like that. Even in Magic, you don't have collectors like that. The Black Lotus isn't, the most valuable card in trading card history because it's rare. That's not why it's rare. It is a playable, tournament legal in many formats, card that people want to have, and it's rare, and it has a lot of, buzz around it, and, it has more going for it than just, hey, it's a rare card. Flesh and Blood is reprinting all of these cards that are in the first set, which is fine. That's good for the players, sort of. We'll get back to that in a second. But it's not good for collectors. Whenever a card gets reprinted in Magic, the value tanks. It drops. It has to drop because it's no longer rare. If the collectors care, it's like, well, I only want beta versions of all of my Magic cards, and so I'm only focused on those. That's pretty. Why do you not focus? That's just fun art. Without, nobody cares. Nobody cares what set it is when you're a player. You just care that you can get your hands on the cards. And I showed two cards. I showed a token version of Ira, which is one of the heroes, actually. We haven't opened her yet, but we'll probably open her here because she's a token. And she's going to be in all of these things. Another shiny card. But she's not going to be worth anything to play or to collectors, not in token form. And in the cold foil form, which is a promo, which was pointed out at, hey, it only exists, 400 copies of this exist, period. So what? I'm a player. I'm not going to buy that card. And if nobody's available, if nobody wants to buy that card, it's just not going to sell. So this card that, was listed for $9,000 is not going to sell for $9,000. It is going to be drastically less than that, and that's just how that rolls. And I'll argue with you all day long, but I don't need to argue with you because find something on eBay. TCG Player is a terrible place to price cards because it shows you what people are listing things at. It doesn't show you what people are selling things at. If it does, please post in the comments so I can find it. When you are looking at the value of something is what people are willing to pay for it today, not what people are willing to pay for it, several months ago. So show me where any of these cards are selling anymore, any of them. Maybe these collectors are holding on to them because they think this game's gonna take off. It's gonna be the most popular thing, since Magic, and because of that, they're just gonna hold it and they're playing the long game. Sure, maybe. I don't think so. I think that, again, I don't think there's collectors. There's players who want to have everything. That's different than a collector, because I just need a play set. I just want a play set of everything. And then there are, this not focusing thing is killing me, so I'm going to fix this right now. And then you have players that, or people that are speculating. And if you want to speculate on the value of these cards, don't take my advice for this. You're the speculator. I'm the one saying this isn't worth it. But if you're a if you think there's value in these cards and that's really what you want to focus on, by all means, do your own homework, because I do not want to be responsible for giving you any advice. Alpha Investor, I watch his YouTube channel quite often, and he will give advice. He also has his own bias for wanting to pump value. He has enough people following him that he can actually affect the value of certain things, especially unopened product. And he did a video a few weeks ago on this particular game and how it was going crazy and how he had so many first edition boosters, and look at this, and this, like, they're 50,000 plus, they're going to the moon. Then he did a video about a week ago saying, all right, market's crashed. There's no floor to this. Well, I don't think he said no floor. That's my things. But I still don't think there's no floor to it. He's like, it's going to go down. It's only going to get worse. Now's like, wait for it to go down and then you can buy and then it's going to bounce back. I don't see it. I think he's just trying to make his money back. I've never seen a card game where an unlimited print run is worth anything. And I don't think I'm going to see that in Flesh and Blood. I don't. Now, does that mean it's a bad game? No. It's a fine game. It's a good game. I have concerns with some of the designs that they're doing so far, but nothing that can't be fixed over time. And but is it an investable game? 100% no. So let's talk a moment about, well, again, it's not an investable game because they keep printing cards. As long as they keep printing cards, the cards are not going to hold value. Period. You can watch the market, just watch the market over time, watch what's sold. It's not going to happen. It's the company. So actually, let me read Scott's comment here. I'm going to read it verbatim because apparently Scott listens to the podcast. So Scott says, I love your board game content, but I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think you have the experience with this game or a secondary market to speak so definitively about the card values. Again, I've been following trading cards games since Magic came out. I bought my first pack of Magic was a beta pack. And even then, we were buying and selling cards at that time. Look, a first Mythic. I've been following trading card games for a very long time. I may not have expertise in this game, but I've seen what this game is doing, and I've seen it happen in a lot of other card games as well. So do I have specifically secondary market stuff here? At the time, probably not as much as I do now, but I've done a lot more research here, and again, no first edition selling. This case of first edition boosters I have for Crucibles of War, which doesn't even have the Unlimited out yet, it was going for $7,000-8,000 pretty quickly about a month and a half ago. Today, I have several offers of like $3,500. I may end up just taking that because this is just going to keep going down. If you look at first edition booster boxes from other sets, they just keep going down because as the playable cards come out and it makes it easier for users, or not users, but players to get access to these cards, nobody's dipping into the first edition stuff. Maybe those cards are worth more, but that's fine. You can price them at whatever you want. They're not going to sell. So if they're not selling, are they really worth it? Like, honestly, no. Anything is only worth what you can get someone to pay for it, and that's it. Let's see. Ancestral Empowerment. Is this one of the cards on my list? It is. This one is worth about $8.50. This is the going rate on eBay right now. Target ninja attack card gains +1 attack. Draw a card. That's not bad. It's a 0 cost. Toss it to add +1. I like it. I'll keep it. Actually, I just want to visit this card again. This, where is it? I cover it up. Oh, right here. Sigil of Solace. So, Heart of Fendal is a... When you pitch it for resources, and it gives you 3 resources, if your life total is less than theirs, you gain 1 life. This one, I guess you have to play it, so you're not pitching it, and this one just gives you 1 life. So, all right, so that one's still a little better. I still don't understand why anyone paid $500 for it, but I'm not a master in the game yet, so maybe that 1 life is a big deal, and it's worth $500. It's certainly a card that you could include in any deck, so that's something. Oh, look, another Ancestral Empowerment. Cool. And we have our foils. And we have our baubles. So he goes on. If you're using the chase card equipments can easily be bought or traded for if you are using the unlimited cards. Unlimited sets also increase the drop rates for these cards, making them much easier to obtain at a low price. So this is in response to me saying the game is too expensive to get into. 100% agree with everything he's saying here. I didn't, when I was looking at prices, I was looking at unlimited price, or not unlimited prices, but the first edition prices. And the first edition prices are crazy, but also it's not what they're selling for. It's just what they're being listed for. You don't need to spend those prices. You can get unlimited. I completely agree with you here. If what you said about unlimited cards killing the value were true, then you would already see this happening because unlimited sets have been printed into the ground already for first edition. Cards are still doing fine. So this is the part where, Scott, I'm sorry, you should do some research on this. The cards are not doing fine. They're not selling. Nothing is selling for first edition. People are listing them at whatever price they want to list them at, but it's, they're hopes and prayers. Like it's not going to sell. Those prices have crashed. Booster boxes have crashed. Cases have crashed. Everything has crashed. Now it's been more since my video. I don't know. Maybe those 200 views crashed the market. I don't think so. I think it was just a bubble that was popping, and the bubbles popped. But yeah, we are seeing those prices crash. Does that make it a bad game? No, 100% no, it does not make it a bad game. It means that the cards were too rare. The supply did not meet the demand because the demand shot up and the supply wasn't there. People got super hyped because the secondary market you started watching these card prices go up. When you saw the secondary market go up, you said, hey, there's something to this game, so I want to go play it. Then you play it and you're like, oh, this is good. The only way to get these cards is spend crazy prices, but these are first edition cards. These are going to be, you can't get these again. They're never going to reprint these. I don't think that people truly understood the model that this company decided to go with. It was Legendary Studios. I keep forgetting their Legend Stories Studios. I don't think that people really understood the model of unlimited was going to be unlimited, and there was going to be nothing in first edition that you couldn't get unlimited. Cold foils are cool. Alt art cards will sell for a little bit more than their standard version as long as they're tournament legal, but they will not sell for the crazy amounts that you are seeing right now for them. There's very few exceptions, but if you again, using Magic has one of the healthiest secondary markets, so you kind of just compare to that one, but using that as comparison, when you see foil cards, you don't see them selling for 2, 3, 4 times the amount of a non-foil card, and you certainly don't see them selling for 200 times or 2,000 times in some cases. That's just not, nobody cares. The foils are cool. Just print them normal. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to start talking about the design decisions, the game design decisions, in a minute. But first, I kind of want to end on Legend Stories Studios has declared that they want to make their gamers making games for gamers. And that's why the unlimited sets exist. First edition, they're going to release some cards or some treatments of cards that you can only get in the first edition set. That's cool. But every card's going to be available in unlimited. Now, I don't know that unlimited is actually truly unlimited. They're going to print, the demand is there, and then they're going to stop printing. You can't just keep printing cards forever. But the model that they're putting this, the random pack model here, as you notice, I'm not trying to go through the cards as I'm opening these. We're looking for chase cards, right? We're looking for the M's and L's. But this model is fun. I truly enjoy opening up random packs to see what I get. But also, I would enjoy this more if I thought that these cards were actually collectible. And by collectible, I mean valuable. They're going to hold their value over time. But because of the model, they're not going to. Why make this model then? Well, because it's really good for the publisher to make random packs. In fact, there's a lot of cases where the only way that something like this can be profitable is to make random packs. Because otherwise, people are just going to buy buy exactly what they need, and they don't care anymore. I'm going to compare this game to Ashes Reborn in a future video. Ashes Reborn is more of an expandable / living card game, depending on how you want to look at it, where you buy a pack and you have your entire playset. You don't have to, you're not fishing for rares or anything. There's no collectability whatsoever. There's no value in the cards whatsoever, short of potential resale, but you're always going to lose. It's not an investment potential. Except for there's a few flukes here and there, but for the most part, it's not investment potential. This could have gone with that model, but the company wouldn't be able to do what they're trying to do. They're trying to make money. Ashes was canceled and then brought back because it didn't make money. It didn't have the player base to justify continuing to print it. It came back because they said, hey, if we get enough players that want to pre-order this, we'll keep printing it as long as there's enough people pre-ordering to the content. Which is awesome, honestly, because I'm happy to do that. It's going to support the game. It's going to keep the game around. They're going to keep making it. Great. Legend Stories Studios is not. They're not doing that. This isn't really for gamers. This distribution model is for them. If it was for gamers, just give everyone a full playset. Let them buy a full playset. If that's the intent, we as a company want everyone to have a full playset. And we want everyone to be able to have any cards that they need to build competitive decks, then this isn't the model to do that in. And I don't see any reason to do this model besides because you want to sell more packs. And there's nothing wrong with that. Just, I don't buy the for gamers, by gamers. Because, let's talk more on Scott's comment here. Supply chain issues are the main problem right now. But this is an issue for everyone right now and should be able to be fixed as soon as their printer is up to full capacity. I think the supply chain has been mostly solved at this point. You can get these things in mass now. The only one is the Crucibles of War, which is going to come out in a couple months. I also feel that you underestimate ISS as a company. Again, why do I keep LLL? These are all lowercase letters. Legend Stories Studios. I'll get it eventually. This isn't your typical fly-by-night board game company. It's run by people who know how to run a business and a game that thrives on organized play. I disagree. I strongly disagree. I don't doubt their design chops. I think their design chops are fine. And I think they're running a company that is fine. But I don't think, and this model, I think, again, is fine. As a company that wants to make money, that's fine. This is a fine model for that. But managing that secondary market, that is a different skill that they don't appear to have. I could be wrong. Again, if you're a speculator, do your own research. Don't listen to me. If you just want to find something to put your money in, do your own research. Don't listen to me. But I am beyond confident that this game is a non-investable game. There's nothing here that's going to be something that people are going to chase after. Again, I did a significant amount of research. I will tell you, in the set we're opening right now, there are 5 cards. 5? Yes, 5 cards that if I open up, it makes it worth my while to actually sell them. And maybe, again, another 2 cards. So 7 cards that we're looking for. Let's see if Steelblade Supremacy is one of them. Steel Blade Supremacy, again, this goes for $8.50. So it was on my list. eBay sells anywhere from like $7 to $10 for this, so I put it at $8.50. So far, in the 2 boxes I bought for an average of about $200 for the 2 boxes, we have about $30. If on the high end, we have $30 worth of cards that we might be able to sell back. So if I compare a lot of this to Magic. If I was opening a Magic box, I would expect that I would have already made my money back on them, because the demand is just so much higher on those cards anyway. And that's the other thing too, is the player base for... Well, now let's talk about the player base. Going back and let me see if I've... Not your fly-by card. It's run by people who know the business. This isn't Destiny 2.0. This is Magic if it were designed by Tom Lehman and Carl... No, it's not. I mean, Wizard of the Coast has had 25, almost 30 years to perfect the Magic distribution model. And whether you agree with the things they do, they keep that secondary market incredibly healthy. And they keep the player base growing. And they keep, year over year, making Magic a better game. Like, I was out of Magic. I usually jump away from Magic for 5, 6, 7 years at a time. I came back because they're doing a Dungeons and Dragons set. And I'm like, all right, I have to play the Dungeons and Dragons set, so I might as well start playing Magic in now. And then I found out today they're doing a Lord of the Rings set. They're doing Warhammer 40K set. Like, that's incredible. Their design space is just infinite, though. They can do anything based on their story of, like, you just jump around different worlds and you can have all these different worlds. But the point is, they're constantly reinventing themselves, constantly doing new things, and they know how to keep that secondary market interesting. And if they didn't, they would lose a lot. If they just said, you know something, we're going to reprint every card, Magic would tank. The player base at that point would just be like, what, and walk away. That would be a catastrophe. That would be really not good. But they're not. They're never going to do that. This game has a ton of design space, though. But we're first going to talk about, as I'm trying to pace myself with the different sets, and hopefully I will have this all done within an hour, because I don't really want to go longer than an hour. But we're going to talk about the concept with Flesh and Blood. And what I've heard is that the reason it's called Flesh and Blood is because they want people to play in person. Great. Launch a in-person trading card game during a pandemic. I guess nobody planned that, but that's kudos for the fact that this game is still alive. Like, that really speaks wonders to the fact that it's so I keep getting the mythics. I don't know if these mythics are different rarities, but the ones, this isn't a mythic. This is just a super rare. This first set had multiple levels of rarities, and they're a little, a foil super rare. Still probably not worth anything, but I'll set it over here to the side. But yeah, play in person. Now, Magic is making a ton of money because now they're going to Magic Arena and focusing a lot on Magic Arena. That's how I actually play, because I rather have a digital card set that I pay a little less for, and I can play to earn cards. But I can play this game anytime I want. I can play it from my iPhone, my iPad, my computer. I can play it whenever. If I want to play a quick 5-10 minute game, I can just play it. If I want to make a deck, I can do that. And I have wild cards that you get when you open packs. After you open certain numbers of packs, you get wild cards. That's awesome, right? For me as a casual player, sure. And I spent, I don't know, maybe $100, $150, like, getting a bunch of boosters to open up for the last set that came out, just to have like a baseline of cards to use. But I don't care to play it in person. I do have some in-person stuff, but I play it so much more online. Flesh and Blood, they don't want to play it online. They don't want to have a digital version. They want stores to run events and do organized play. And this is another thing that Scott mentions is, like, they care about the in-person play. which is fine. I think in-person play is incredibly important, and I don't have any problem with that. But when you go all in on in-person play and that's your whole thing, you are limiting your audience if you never have any other medium to play. Most card games do that. But like there's fan-made sites that you can play a lot of these card games that the company may not support them, but you can play the card games on there. I don't know if Flesh and Blood has a fan-made card site or not. It could. There's a lot of back and forth in Flesh and Blood, a lot of like quick interactions back and forth, but it still could work as a digital medium if they wanted to. And I think that in-person play is both a benefit to certain stores. It's fun for players. It is not necessarily fantastic for the game if that's all you're focused on, but it's fine. We'll talk about, again, I don't know. I can't really say anything bad about that. I'm not going to knock the game because they're like, we want people to play in person. Like, I think that's fine. Spinal Crush. I don't think this is another Mythic. So we opened up. Spinal Crush is not even on my list, so that means it was worth less than $10 on average. But so we opened up in 2 booster boxes. We got 4 Mythics. The total value of these Mythics are, I might be able to get $35 for them, maybe. I could look at the super rares and sell these at $1 or $2 a piece, maybe. It's not worth my time to do that. Now with the cut and shipping, it just doesn't make any sense. We got 1 super rare foil, which is fine. So I will say, as a call on the first booster box, or the first 2 booster boxes from the first set, this was $200 spent to have a decent size collection that I can now play and build decks with, and extras. I will put them in the spokes of my bike. I don't have a bike. If I did, I'd put them in the spokes. It's fine though. Like I said, again, I play Keyforge, and Keyforge has no collectability, and I have hundreds of decks for Keyforge. They do not have to be worth aftermarket money to make it worth your while to not invest in, but, well, you're kind of investing in the game. But that's very much okay that I didn't make any money back on these. Now, what I am going to do is hope that I make money back on the next ones. So, and I'm just using one of these cheapy boxes to store the cards in. All right, let's take a look at Arcane Rising. Arcane Rising has, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards that are worth over 100 and 3 more that are over 50 that would be worth selling. And I didn't go below that because I got tired of doing the research on eBay. It's actually kind of tricky to find what these are willing to sell for. I wish TCG Player will show a history of what sold. So you can list things there, but it doesn't tell you what things sold at. So you just have prices all over the place. It doesn't mean anything. And I think in this set, the rarities changed. They got rid of super rares, and now it's just legendary, Majestics, and Fabled. Well, there's only one Fabled in each set anyway. If we pulled a single Fabled, that would be enough to say, okay, I've made my money back. Oh, these ones have the tech ones. So this is the set I'm actually kind of looking forward to because I like these little the Mechanologist card art. Looks really cool. So happy to open these up. Again, I like the game. All right, but now let's talk about issues I have with the design space of the game. I haven't played a ton of this game, and I've played enough where I know the feel. I know how the game plays. Obviously, I've played enough of the game. But when I'm building decks, my concern, and this might just be a concern, not a legendary foil. So we'll see what that one is in a second. Like I said, this just might be a concern, not necessarily something that needs to be worried about because it's actually pretty easily solvable. each of these sets has 4 heroes. And those 4 heroes can use a subset of cards. And in the sets, you have a bunch of cards for those heroes. Let's see. Arcanine Skullcap. Ooh, I think this one might be actually good. Ooh, this one. All right. So this one is going to pay for 3 of these boxes. The average going rate on this is somewhere between, well, 2 of these boxes anyway, are between $220 to $275. This is generic equipment. It's a head piece. And I think all of these are foils, so this is just a rainbow foil, but let's see this. Already sleeved it, so it is foiled, but it's really hard to see the foil. But in any case, awesome. We do another one of these, we might actually get to that break-even point. See what happens. So voila, we're gonna do this. And turn that side off, just so you can see what I'm doing over here. But we're gonna set this to the side. Cool. Where was I? Oh yeah, design space. So the 4 heroes kind of concern me because when I'm playing in a sealed, I'm going to play those same 4 heroes over and over and over, and I'm actually playing against very similar decks when I'm playing in a draft, and that's my preferred way of playing. I like playing in draft. So if I'm playing the same decks, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. It could be a good thing. Maybe, I mean, at least I know the archetypes of the decks I'm playing against. But if I'm building decks, if I go to a constructed tournament and I see very similar decks because everyone's using the same heroes or a same subset of heroes because certain heroes are just, better than others, the design space concerns me a little bit. I don't know, again, if it's worth it. There's a lot of generic cards that can go everywhere, so I don't know if it's really worth worrying about. But yeah. This one is a Majestic. This is a Ranger action, 3 of a kind. I'm guessing the Ranger isn't all that good because this doesn't show up anywhere on my list. We'll just set that over here. And like this one here, right? The equipment. One of the reasons why this is so valuable is because it's a generic equipment piece. Anyone can use it. Anything that's tied to a particular hero is going to be worth less because it's going to be in less decks. It's going to be in less demand. And therefore, those cards aren't worth as much. And that's another issue with just the way that the card distribution is. That's interesting. I got 2 super rares. One's a foil, one's a normal. Again, you can barely tell the difference here, but this one is a foil. Can you tell this at all? Like, I think you can kind of see the shine and the arrows. Yeah. But that's neat. So that's one concern, but it's not really a major concern because that's one of those things where I think there's a lot of design space that they can do with those heroes. I want to see a set that actually is, give me a half a dozen heroes of each of the different kinds that already exist. Give them different powers and abilities that allow new types of decks to be created. I want to see flexibilities in deck construction. Because if we can get there, then this game has a design space that's limitless. I actually think the design space in this game is pretty limitless anyway. There's a ton that you can do here. And if you're still listening to me now after I've ranked on this game for, 43 minutes, sorry about that. Great. I don't actually expect that there's too many people left. So we're just going to start opening these on a quicker pace here and see what I can find. But the things I like about the game, and I've mentioned a few things already. I like the gameplay. Right? It's cool that there's that the heroes can have variable abilities. I want those abilities to be more varied. I want more hand sizes that are, not just 4 all the time. You have this hand size number on these cards, pick something different than 4, and 3 is not the right number. But vary that up a little bit. Give me a hand size of 5, but lower my life to 15 or something like that. I don't know. That's tricky to balance, but when you take these heroes, you actually can do a lot with the heroes without having to really break anything. Like you can always just throw out heroes, and if they are broken, if they break the game, then ban them. You're just banning one card at that point, right? Or limit it, or whatever. Like there's, as far as I know, there's no restricted list on these yet. So, like I say, there's a ton you can do there. I want to see more of that happen. And I'm only going to open 4 of these boxes because I do not think that I'm going to get through another 6 boxes afterwards. Maybe I'll do an addendum video of this is what the Monarch ones. I actually didn't do any research on the Monarch ones yet because they're too new, so they don't actually have a good baseline to look at on those. If you're wondering, these are the foils over here that I'm putting. Every pack has a foil in it. That foil can be of any rarity. Every pack has a token in it. Token's always the last card. Oftentimes double-sided. Sometimes it's a bauble. The baubles are for drafts. So if you don't have enough legal cards, you can throw a bauble in there. And baubles are just pitch for resources. Actually, the difference between a bauble and one of those hearts are very similar. I think the baubles are actually give you the same resources. They just don't give you an extra life half the time. Yeah, that was in the wrong stack. These are not super rares. And that's what we're doing here. These packs are a little bit trickier to open than the other ones. They are a little bit firmer, so I end up ripping them far more often. Then I just toss the stuff on the floor because, again, I'm not trying to be super neat. I can pick those things up later. You don't need to see those things being neat. So far, we haven't gotten anything major significant in this set. Oh, wait, no, I lied. So far, we got the most valuable card we've opened so far has been in this set. In fact, I'm going to put that right there because glare, fun glare, whatever. Here, I'll put it right here. Yeah, sure. Still a lot of glare, but it's a $200+ card. We'll see. I'm gonna put it on eBay. We'll see if it actually sells. But still lots of commons here. Well, lots of commons, obviously, but lots of just rares and super rares. Oh, let's see. What else can we talk about here? Design space. Like I say, it's really unlimited. I kind of wish that they would. They're building up a bunch of different classes as they release these. This looks terrible. As they release the new set, so each new set has 4 different heroes, and they're adding. Oftentimes, it's brand new classes. They can stop doing that anytime, honestly. I get what they're trying to do there, but the depth that the breadth of classes is hurting the depth of the depth? I don't know. They're creating too many. So my cards, they are so focused. I could actually, what I'll probably end up doing when I sort these is I'm going to sort them by class type, which I think you have to. And then I'll put the generics in their own side, and I'm probably not saying anything. Everyone's like, yeah, obviously, that's how you would do it. So when I'm building a deck, I see a very limited set of cards that can actually be used for each hero. Unlike other games where essentially, in most games, any card could go in any deck because you're going to be picking multiples of there's multiple options. You're combining 2 factions, or for example, in Ashes, the hero actually isn't tied to any particular type of card. Also in Ashes, you have an unlimited way you can put cards together. Ooh, I like that one. This is a Majestic, but it goes along with Dash, and Dash is the hero I like. So this is a Teklo core. This apparently can list this on TCG Player. is like $30-ish, but I think a lot of the TCG Player stuff is off priced because it's taking first edition stuff into account more than it should. And that's why when you look at TCG Player and you see all these crazy prices that are way higher than what you can actually buy them for, or what you actually have to pay for them, is because it's averaging them with TCG Player in a lot of cases, or not averaging them with the first edition stuff in a lot of cases. So that's why in my last video, when I'm like, oh, look, this is a $10,000 card, and oh, now it's $500. That's what happened is I clicked into it and it said, oh, here's what you can buy this at. So that's always cool when you get prices that are cross sets, which I don't know. I used TCG Player to sort these cards, so I had relative value, and then that's how I knew what cards to look for on eBay. Are there better ways to sell your card? Yeah, eBay is expensive. They take a pretty decent cut of cards, so I won't know that I would do it that way all the time. This is the Arknight Ascendancy. This is, it could be 40-ish top end, but probably closer to 20. So it's worth setting aside. All right, this is the last booster. We're going to do this in record time so that I can close off this video, put an hour-long video that, if you made it this far, put a comment. Put a comment down on the bottom saying, hey, I made it this far. And of those comments, I will pick something and I will respond to you. And on my podcast, I give away a lot of board games. And if you comment down here, it's like, hey, I watched all the way to 51 minutes, 50 seconds in. You will get something in exchange for doing that. I don't know what, but you'll get something. Maybe I'll give you some cards. I have a bunch of cards now. Rare foils. How do I do that? These are this. There we go. But yeah, if you see a card here you like, maybe not the one that I'm actually going to sell, let me know. Otherwise, I'm just going to assume I'm talking to myself at this point, but that's cool because I'm having fun. I'm opening card packs, and I don't do any editing, behind the scenes stuff. All my bumpers and all that is built into OBS so that I don't have to do any editing, and I'm just going to press a button and then the outro plays. I press a button and the intro plays. I make a thumbnail and call it good. Why do I do it that way? Because YouTube video editing is very, very time consuming. I do have a day job that pays for my hobbies. It allows me to buy a bunch of Ashes Unlimited cards that I don't expect to make my money back on. And I do this for fun. And people get mad because I have an opinion, and I might state my opinion strongly at times. Not strongly, confidently. So that's what it is. So people take it a little bit more serious than they should, which is why I try to keep reminding you, don't take my financial advice. But take my game advice. This is a good game. You should play it. If you're still watching, I don't know why. I don't think I'm watching anymore. I'm kind of watching. I'm looking at myself here, but I'm actually excited. Like the opening cards are fun, and I say we got the skull cap, which was almost one of the chase cards. Actually, the skull cap is the chase card. It is the highest priced legendary card for this set, so that's great. The Fabled version, the Fabled card is certainly worth more. That is the Eye of Ophidia, but the Skull Cap is the most valuable card in this set. Outside of that one. Do I want to keep it? I don't know. I don't want to keep it. I don't need to keep it. The whole point of this was to open up cards so that I could see if I could break even. So I'm not keeping this one. But let's read it. If you have less life than an opposing hero... Yep, less life than an opposing hero. Arcanite. Skullcap gains +1 armor and Arcane Barrier 3. If your hero would be dealt arcane damage, you may pay 3 instead. If you do, prevent 3 arcane damage from that source that would be dealt. Battle Worn. If you defend with this, then put a -1 counter on it when the combat cane closes. But it doesn't go away. So if you do all the damage, it still has Arcane Barrier as long as you are your life total is less, which is great because if you haven't played the game, don't know why you're watching if you haven't played the game, but if you haven't played the game, arcane damage isn't really easily defended against. There's very few things that defend against it besides arcane barriers. So Arcane Barrier 3 is a significant amount. And then the equipment, a lot of equipment, especially the non-legendary stuff, is destroyed when you use it once. This one is not. You keep it around for as long as you want, which is cool. Another pedal to the metal foil, and another dash. I'm going to make a dash deck. I have a dash playmat. I want to make a dash deck, and I think it'll be fun. I'm going to make. Actually, for my goal with these cards is to make a deck for each of the 4 different heroes, and then be able to play them just for fun. Our local store has a constructed every other week, and then we have a draft every other week. Cracked Babble. This is 2 resources. Toss it. So this is not the fabled version is 3 resource, and you toss it, and if you have less life, you get if you have less life, then you heal 1. Although there's really not that much difference between the Cracked Babble and that one, but that's okay. Rarity does matter in some ways, and it is a very versatile card. It's not necessarily one that you would hate to see. I get this a lot where there's a foil and a non-foil right next to each other. I mean, they're common cards, so I guess it's not that crazy. All right, come on. Let's see another Skullcap. Skullcap at one point sold for $2,500 in its first edition version. In its unlimited version, it's never sold that high, but that's all right. 0 to 60. Oh, that's a neat card too. This one you can actually really see the foil pop out of there. Ooh, some pistols, some guns. Getting down to the final bit. Am I going to hit that hour mark? So let's see. Since we're in the end, let's talk about liking and subscribing. And I apologize for the length of this video and for my babbling. I don't think I'm wrong about the game, but I could be. I hope the game succeeds. It is a fun game. I'd love to see where they can take it. It's a new game, and new games have some growing pains. Again, when you're released during a pandemic, you can't begrudge them how well they've done in that pandemic. Pandemic is over now, which is not over. It's not over, but it's pretty close. So another Arknight Ascendancy. It's getting pretty close. Most of my friends, actually I think all my friends are fully vaccinated at this point. I've been gone to a few in-person events. Some of them you're still wearing masks. I have no problem wearing masks. Most of them though are, hey, if you're fully vaccinated, you're good to go. And I will happily take that. I watched a late night TV show, and as of yesterday of this recording, they now have live audiences again, and it was just cool to see that. Cool to see the world getting back to normal. But this channel, like, subscribe, do those things. I will be doing a lot more top 10s and those type of things. Mostly, I have the channel because my interest in games will change from week to week, and I like talking about the stuff I'm interested in. So right now, it's Flesh and Blood and Ashes. Those are the 2 games I really like. I just got done playing a game of Destinies, though. Not Destiny the video game, but Destinies, the board game by Lucky Duck. That was a great game. It was a competitive storytelling game that I played with my wife, and we had a blast. So I will likely talk about that. I believe the next podcast episode is going to be on talking about story-driven games that are more you're playing for the story as opposed to playing for points or whatever the case is there. And the podcast, we always have some kind of subject on there, and I have 2 other people to challenge me in my thoughts in real time. So there's always that as well. Red in Ledger. This is another Majestic. Yeah, it looks like it could be $10 or so. I'll set it to the side and see. I don't really like putting anything on eBay that's less than $10. It's just not worth it, because then I still have to charge like $3 for shipping, so it can be tracked and stuff, and so people end up having to pay more than they really want to pay for small batch cards. But if it sells, great. If not, it's not a faction or champion type that I am interested in, so I don't need to keep it. And I guess I could always, well, I don't think my local store is buying any cards because they already have tons and tons of loose cards as it is. Ooh, 3 of a kind foil Majestic. But again, it is not that valuable. But maybe if I have it, I'll pull the deck out of it. All right, so I think this is the last one. Let's see if we see an L. I just want an L. 1 L. 1 more L. In 4 boxes, we've gotten 1 L. We just need 1 more L. And we're not going to get them here. We got 3 rares, but no L's. All right. In 4 boxes, can I break even? No. I got this one though. And I say, this is not a bad card. It's not bad. I would love to keep it to actually play with it, but I think being able to play this game for, well, again, if those 4 boxes that I just opened, I got for a total of $406 or something with tax and shipping. And if I sell this one for $230, then I paid $170 for those boxes. That is still more than I want to pay for a game typically, but it's in the realm of, hey, as long as if I'm playing this game for even 20 hours, right? It's still at $170. Let's say 17 hours is $10 an hour, right? That's not terrible, and I'm going to play far more than $10 or 17 hours, so it's worth it. It's worth the price. And like I say, this one card, I will sell this. Check it out on eBay soon. So that's Tabletop Game Talk. I'm Chris Steele. If you got this far, again, post in the comments. I'll get you something. But it has to be within the first week or 2 of the thing shopping. Otherwise, that would be an evergreen. I'd give you something, and I don't think I can do that. Good night.